Forgiveness is the main practice of A Course in Miracles. It's like not the same as when you think that, oh yeah, a person is really bad, really did a bad thing, really a bad thing, sinful even, yes, he's a sinner, for sure. Okay, when we think that way, we're thinking with the ego. Because only the ego judges, okay? Only the ego has separation. I'm not like that. That person is like that. That's called projection. It's like, I don't want to see myself as like them. I don't want to see myself as sinful. So I see it out there. I see it out in the world. That's the dream, okay? It's projection. It's like a projector in the back of a movie house. In the old days when you would see a beam of light going up toward the screen, the projector's in the back, the screen is in the front. It's our choice, the choice of the mind, to choose ego thinking, to see sin out there. And it's only because we believe the ego's thought system that there is such a thing as sin, and the only way there could be such a thing as sin is if the oneness of God and its creation was broken into pieces. And that is the ego thinking. You're a body, you live in here. This is Jan. I've come to recognize that this thing I call Jan is an instrument of good. And if this thing called Jan does something that temporary ego thinking says, oh, very bad, Jan knows that it's okay because her heart is aligned with good, doing good, feeling good, being good, knowing good, good with only one O, God. God in everything. And when we see God in everything, we recognize He's not condemning us. It happens that A Course in Miracles thought for today, the workbook lesson for today, is God has condemned me not, no more do I. And what that means, if you want to, paraphrase it, it's God isn't blaming me or condemning me or putting me down or telling me I'm wrong or shaking a finger at me. God isn't doing that. Why should I do that to myself? That's what that lesson says. So that's what forgiveness is. It's like the world as God sees it is a reflection of God's being. God is in everything here. A Course in Miracles says you can't get away from God. God is love, and love permeates everything. The ego is a belief that there's holes in everything. There's places where there is not God. That's the belief in sin. So people say, ooh, if you don't believe in sin, how are you going to punish the bad and, reward the good? And how are you going to separate the sheep from the goats and all that? I want you to notice that that is the world of judgment. We think A Course in Miracles came from the historical Jesus, but not the body. The being that identified with everything and everyone as the Christ. And that's what he came back to tell us about. And those of us who've studied A Course in Miracles for a long time, we see very clearly this is what he was trying to teach us the first time he came around, 2,000 years ago. But it's gotten distorted, and there's a whole lot of stuff that people in the 20th century, just the 21st century, just can't buy, right? Because it wasn't what Jesus was saying. It was a cultural add-on. It was what people later added on, and their head was not as open to the truth as Jesus's was. So this is another chance. And we think, though, I say we, this is no cult. This is no church. There's no organization. There are small groups. There are teaching foundations and so on, but there's no hierarchy. There's nobody saying this is what it means and you better believe it, you better accept it. And no, I mean, there's people like me. I've done it. I want to share it with you. I want to share it with you because I want you to be free of those limitations, those fences on our power. Okay, here's the other thing. Reality is one. Reality, so I've talked about perception. Reality is one. There's only one thing, and that is love. Of course, we don't see that while we believe that the physical world is telling us what's real, but we learn it by letting go. And that letting go is just another word for forgiveness, as the Course sees it. The Course says you don't believe in sin and then forgive it, because what is that? You still feel sacrificial and in pain. Real forgiveness is recognizing your own value, your own lovability, your own perfection, no matter what you think you have said, done, or are. You are as God created you. You are the light of the world. So as we do this, we have to do it by joining with other people in spirit. That means no condemnation. Anybody, whatever they do, we look at it in the light of their calling for love, their calling for help. Help me, Holy Spirit, to see this and to answer their call appropriately for them and for me. See you soon.